Hello, everybody, and welcome to Silver and Black Experience. So this is a brand new show right here because we just talking about what's going on with the Raiders right here, and right now it seems like we have a technical issues right here because we just were some issue right here.
And what's up with the echo?
Who's got
Oh,
YouTube and the StreamYard open?
oh,
Was that you, Raphael?
no, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. But let's see what I got over here. I think there is an ambient audio right here.
What the?
All right, so well, I'll just start over again. So, welcome everybody to Silver and Black Experience. So, this is a new project that I was waiting for to coming out right here because we're just talking about all the Raiders stuff right here because this title right here, Silver and Black Experience, it's all this show right here for all the Raider Nation right here because right now over the season right here, I'm gonna put this show right here as known as Silver and Black Experience. We're talking about the Raiders news, the rumors, and everything about it. And of course, historical facts right here, the depth chart analysis of the players right here. So right here, El Capitán Rafael as your service right here. So I'm not alone because right now we have some important guests right here, so we can talk about what's going on with the Raiders right here. So right now we got Auntie Seed Soldier. Also, we got the Chronicles of the Black Hole, OJ Jack Daniels, and of course, one of the amazing content creators, which is Raider Ray right here. So hello, guys, and welcome to the Silver and Black Experience, our Raider Nation show. So, this is about the Raider Nation right here. So, salute to everybody else. How's it going?
Pretty good, Ralph.
It's going pretty good, Ralph. I'm excited to join the show and just talk all things Raiders with you guys.
It's going crazy, but it's good.
Yeah, it's been going crazy right here. So, right now, there's this experience says, I'm listening, bro, doing some school work, but I'm listening in. Salute to Eric right here, the SS Paris right here.
What's up,
So,
SD?
Hey,
right
that's
now, let's go to the first topic right here. So right now, let's talk about the Raiders' new president and breaking barriers. Because right now, this week, Sandra Douglas Morgan was introduced this Thursday as the Las Vegas Raiders' new team president. As a Las Vegas native, Morgan has been long a trailblazer and was the first person to call her to serve as the chair of the Nevada Gaming Control Board. And right now, he's doing it as a brand new president of the Raiders. Because right now, it feels like they're just like a trailblazer right here because they're just like breaking boundaries right here. Because remember, Jim Flores was doing the Raider Nation right here because that's the first Hispanic to do well at the Hall of Fame right here. But right now, the new president right here is going to be incredible right here. But it's time for to breaking boundaries right here because as a Raider Nation right here, it is time to break all the boundaries right here that nobody does in the history of the NFL. So right now, let's give us some thoughts about what's going on with the Raiders' new president. So we go to Auntie Sids, later to Raider Ray, and of course Jack Daniels. All right, so let's hear him out for OTC Soldier. So, any thoughts about the new president and breaking boundaries in the history of the Raiders?
First of all I gotta say is when I see her, I'm gonna ask her to marry me because she's fucking gorgeous.
he's already married, bro.
Hey, it's okay. I'll be the side piece. OG, I don't care. Nah,
Okay.
but for seriously, no, I think it was a great, amazing hire for the Raiders, especially as breaking barriers. Her becoming the first woman, and especially too now that all these rumors about the Raiders work place, misconduct and stuff. Hopefully, she goes in there and and puts her foot down and gets out of that stuff straightened out. But I think it was a good hire.
All right. So,
Overall,
Raider Ray, do you have any questions? Do you have any thoughts?
no, well, I'm just curious on what our job is initially going to be. You know what I'm saying? Like when we hire and we bring in these new presidents, we've seen in times recently of these guys not lasting very long. So I'm hoping that she can come in, correct a few things. Let's get the tax situation paid right. And I know that's probably a big excuse for why a lot of these guys are leaving. But look, I support her. I love that this organization over history has always given people opportunities, minorities specifically, real opportunities. I mean, you're talking about the first Latino head coach. You're talking about the first African American head coach, and this organization is unique in not only changing the National Football League, but changing sports cultures, which initially transitions into the world that we live in. So I'm just grateful that the Raiders organizations is one of those frontier organizations that go out there and change the standard. So she has all my support. I hope that she does well. I don't have much other else to say about it, Rafael.
All right. So, OG Daniel, any thoughts about breaking boundaries of the history of the Raiders with the new president?
Yeah, screw breaking barriers. Okay, we're not breaking barriers here. Let me tell you what we're doing. We brought in the first Latino quarterback, Tom Flores. We brought in the first Latino head coach, Tom Flores. We brought in the first African American head coach. We brought in the first female CEO, Amy Trask. We brought in this person because she wasn't an African American woman. We're not here to break barriers. We brought in the best damn person for the job and the most qualified for it. She got the first African American person appointed to the Nevada Gaming Board as the head of the gaming board. She is a head of a board of a bank. She is qualified. Her husband's an ex-NFL player. They were college sweethearts. She knows how the NFL works. So the Raiders have diversity in their DNA, not because they were breaking barriers, but because they got the best damn person for the job. And she has the NFL in her DNA because her husband she met him in college. They went through the NFL. He played for the Vikings. Okay. This is not the barrier breaking thing everybody's talking about. This is the best damn person for the job. And she is. She's the best fit. She's going to turn things around in our organization. The past president of the organization threw a bunch of accusations at Mark Davis. When Mark Davis wasn't even there, he was running it. If this stuff happened, it was his fault. Now we got someone in charge who's the best person in charge, not because of skin color, not because of gender, because it's the best damn person for the job.
It is. And right now, for me, it's just like because right now I'm Hispanic and I have a Asperger's syndrome, so this is like a special condition, but I'm very proud to be representing the Raider Nation right here. So before I go into the next topic right here, I would love to introduce my brother, Down from Under, which is one of the incredible content creators right here.
Afakazi.
Gang. How are we all?
What's
Hello.
up?
Hello and welcome to the Silver and Black Experience right here. So right now we're just talking about what's going on with the Raiders' new president and any thoughts about it, Afakazi.
I gotta be honest, I'm not sure what she does, but you know what? It's an important signing. I know that for sure. Look, I think it's I think it's a fantastic job of choosing who we chose. God, the name escapes me now. I had it roll off my tongue before. It was like, what is it? Douglas something? Douglas Moran?
Douglas
Martinez.
No.
Moran?
No, that's my last name.
Douglas Morgan. Sandra Douglas Morgan.
It's Sandra Douglas Moran. Yes. So, you know, congratulations to her. I'm proud that our organization had made such a choice to have a woman of color take over such an important role. I hope she does the job and does it well, and I'm very confident that she will. And And P.S. How about you be my wife, right?
Okay.
Just
It's one time.
It's one time.
Okay, just like one time. All right. So right now, let's move on to the next. All right. So right now, let's move it out to the next topic right here. So right now, there's only two teams are very interested of that comes soon, which is the Minnesota Vikings and Las Vegas Raiders. Because right now, the comes soon is one of the NFL most intriguing free agencies still available. Because right now, the timing is running out for the 35-year-old defensive tackle to find a new home. Because according for all these media right here, because there has been discussions with two teams, which is the Vikings and the Raiders. Because
It
right
was
now,
the Browns also until today. It got eliminated from the Browns.
Oh yes, they got eliminated for the Browns because right now Cleveland Browns doesn't have the interest here right here. So right now, Sa has confirmed that he wants to return to his 13th season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but he was appearing because to be out of the picture because like an arena become unlikely within sign Akim Hikes. And so complete 6 sets in each one of the last two seasons with the Buccaneers, and the durable 31-pound Paco hasn't missed a game since 2011. And for the Vikings, had ranked 26th rushing defense last season, despite that in the former Giants nose tackle David Tomlinson and the longtime defensive line Everson Griffin remains a free agency, and Deshaun Barrow signed with the Raiders. But right now, those relinquished 18 rushing touchdowns last season. While they already a big splash for Sandy Chandler Jones, they could use like more depth in the middle alongside Jonathan Hankins and Blood Knuckles. So he made me like because he's still like a veteran. So in my opinion, right here, because right now they just have the two teams right here because he's like the most interesting free agency right here because that defense tackle was amazing right here. But so do you have any thoughts about what's going on with the future of Nakamson going to the Raiders? So right now let's go to Ante Sids, let's go to Audrey Daniel, then Afakasi Raider, and Raider Ray about what's going on with the future of Nakamson. He's gonna join up for the Raiders. So let's go for the Auntie Says right here.
If I'm Ndamukong Suh, who would you I'd rather play with? Max Crosby and Chandler Jones or a bunch of nobodies on the Vikings defense? That's what comes down to it, brother. If he really wants to have a chance to win the Super Bowl, he needs to come to the Raiders. But I don't know what his head's thinking, brother. But if I was him, I would come to the Raiders, brother. But we'll see what happens, brother. But it's a good thing that it's down to two teams, brother. But until he signs, brother, I don't know, brother. I'm worried. But we'll see what happens, brother. I'm hoping for the best.
All right, so OJ Daniel, anything about what's going on with Nakum soon? Because they had two options. It's gonna be the Raiders or the Vikings, or there is like obviously there is one choice that we can never leave alone because who knows? So OJ Daniel, any thoughts about stuff?
If I were on Ndamukong Suh's agent, I would be like, you want the bag, you want the ring. At this point, it doesn't look like the bag's coming because neither of these teams are showing a hell of a lot of interest in you. So do you believe in more? Raiders or the Vikings? If the Vikings give you a little more bag and that's what you're about, okay, go out in mediocrity. Well, not mediocrity. You'll be a Hall of Famer eventually someday. But if you're looking for the ring, here's the team to go for, and they're not showing that much. Neither team is showing much interest in him. So it's a anti-bidding war. It's a neither of these teams really give a damn whether you come to them. So choose the lesser of your two evils, bro, because it's over otherwise. You're forced into retirement. That's where it's come. That's where it's gone. And I mean, don't get me wrong, he can still perform at a high level, but neither team has shown a lot of interest in Ndamukong Suh. So Ndamukong Suh needs to go at some point and humble himself or retire. Because neither us or the Vikings are that damned interested.
Mm-hmm. So, Afakazi Units, about any thoughts?
Look, Ndamukong Suh, as you said, guys have said, he's still a productive player. He can still play at a high level. I've said it time and time again. I'm getting over this shit. How many times are we going to talk about this guy? Is he going to sign? Is he not going to sign? If he signs, he signs. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Sign the dotted line or just whatever. I'm getting over it, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like he's come out and said that, you know, there's mutual interest from the Raiders. Well, they probably gave him an offer, said, here's a contract. You either sign it or you don't. If he's not, then whatever. I'm over it. And I'm over, like, always getting associated to these players. It's like, oh, we're going to sign this player. Oh, this player is interested in the Raiders, or the Raiders interested in this player. It's like, why are we always the ones associated with all these free agents? You know what I mean? Like these guys who are, like, at the tail end of their career. The latest name is now Julio Jones, right?
It makes good clickbait.
I'm sick of it. I'm over it. Next.
It makes good clickbait, Abakazi.
I know it does, but I'm so over it. I really am. If he signs, he signs. If he doesn't, he doesn't. That's my
look, just to echo off of what Avakazi's saying, look, I have been stating all offseason that good football teams add good football players regardless of what time of season, what time of the offseason it is, whether it's pre-training camp, post-training camp. And Ndamukong Suh's a good football player. However, I'm echoing what Avakazi says. And you guys, look, what I took away from him getting on the National Football League, the NFL Network, it's a great job by his agent to get his face out there on the open media. And that's what that whole thing necessarily was. It was to get leverage of either side of the party, whether it be the Vikings or the Raiders, to show that he has a market and show that he has interest. To me, that interview came off as he was getting leverage from the Raiders organization. Does he want to be a Raider? If he wants to be a Raider, I think he would have been a Raider by now. If it, like OG was saying, if it's about money, then Suh, go get your money, go get paid. But if you're looking to compete for a championship, which I think he wants a championship, but he wants to get paid as well. And I think that Ndamukong Suh's realizing that he's not the A side anymore in this situation. Age is caught up to him. He's 35 years old. He doesn't have the say anymore. And I think it's showing when it comes to a contract. So if the Raiders do decide to add Ndamukong Suh, great. It bolsters up the interior of this defensive line, and it creates one of the more formidable front sevens. But if he doesn't sign with the Raiders, I'm not too worried about it. I like what we have going into training camp.
I believe that they've already offered him a contract and just said, look, take it or leave it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
We're not giving you a penny more.
All right.
I like that.
So the Vikings are not showing any interest. And he's probably going to go, okay, when it comes down to the end of it, he's going to be like, okay, here's my only option, the Raiders. And they're not giving me a big bag to go out with. Well, no, you got your big bags, bitch. Bye.
Well, he might be doing a little bit of what Darrell Williams is doing, and he's waiting for one of these organizations to have a really big need at defensive tackle if somebody gets injured, which gives him the best opportunity financially to jump in and help fill in a spot. What we're seeing right now is clear that he's waiting on the call for more money. I believe the Raiders and the Vikings probably haven't put a lot of money on the table, and these are what he's down to. So if I'm his agent and he is wanting money, which is what it's showing, he's going to hold out and wait for these teams to get an injured star defensive tackle and probably sign with him.
Yeah, but the thing is, here's the scoop. His agent is making the decision. Okay, it's not Ndamukong Suh sitting there waiting for all this. It's his agent. His agent is either really stupid or really smart by holding out like that, but Ndamukong Suh is not going to get offered the money that his agent wants to collect. He's 35 years old, for God's sake. Like, no.
He's made his money. That's what I'm confused about.
And the agent, he's with an agency. Obviously, it's not that smart.
I just, in regards to the money, like I don't blame players trying to make as much money as they can while they can. I mean, this is their livelihood. You know what I mean? They're not going to get another chance down the line because football players only have a certain shelf life. to make as much money as they can to support their children, their children's children, their children's children's children.
Right.
So I'm not going to knock any player who wants to try and maximize the amount of money while they can. So I don't knock him for that part, but I stand by what I said. If he signs, he signs. If he doesn't, he doesn't. You know what I mean? I'm this whole carousel about we're going to sign that player. It's like over.
Yeah, he's not part of the cake. He's just icing.
Move.
At this juncture in his career.
All right, so right now let's talk about another topic right here, because we're kind of talking about, speaking of the Raiders training camp right here, because it's gonna be on July 18, and of course there's one pick high because there's like offensive training camp battles to keep like an eye on the 2022. So the first one is gonna be the wide receiver. So you might know, because the biggest offseason acquisition for the Raiders was none other than Devontae Adams, which they have wasn't the only wipeout that brought the balls to the position group. That's much better position on the wide receiver than was a year ago. And that training camp right here, there's gonna be like a 3-man race for the wide receiver number 3 spot, because Adams will be like the wide receiver number 1. And there's 3 men who will bat it out for this role right here. It's going to be Matt Collins, DeMarcus Robinson, and Keelan Cole. There are good options right here. But as of now, I would like to see Robinson to get the job, because that would be like a battle, going to race all summer long. And all these guys want to be upgraded to the depth to the Raiders last year. The second one is going to be the running back. During the 2021 offseason, the Raiders had made splash, but they get a bowl of money to Kenyon Drake, to the team's backup behind Josh Jacobs. Now, for years, Jacobs has been seen a talented player, but also seems like it's getting tired late, or he's getting to stay productive right here. Instead, Drake was injured during the season, and Jacobs was once again to have shoulder the load. But he's something did well that during this team playoff run. Right now, over the new regime of Josh McDaniels and Deb Ziegler has brought over Brandon Bolden with him from New England. So they could be like battle for the who's going to be number 1 behind Jacobs. So when it comes to Bolden, but Drake will be a stunning playmaker on the Sunday right, but he's healthy. Right now, they use the draft pick as Samuel White, which is figured out with the play world the year number 1. So he comes to the backups of Jacobs in 2022. The training camp looks large. And last but not least, which is that to keep an eye on this training camp right here, is going to be the offensive guard. So when it comes to the offensive line, a huge topic of discussion for the Raiders fans as we enter for the month of July, the offensive line has plenty of question marks. But it appears that the new regime is going to be like the 2021 first-round pick, Alice Whittle, will go for another right tackle spot. So that means most of the battles will come along for the interior right now. Both the left and right, the guard spots are grabs. So there is no storage about the talent to battle off of these spots. And we can see like a rookie emerge as Dallin Purnham, and in coming and still one of the starting jobs during training camp. So in my opinion right here, so let's go about what's going on for the training camp right here. So first we're going to go with Auntie's seat soldier. Then we go to Ogin Daniel. Then we go to Africa Raider. And last but not least, Raider Raid about the Raiders training camp right here. So it's getting close to about who's going to be excited about the prospect of this year. So it's getting cut. And any thoughts about the Raiders training camp? So let's talk.
Whoa, I got a question. Are we talking about wide receivers, running backs, or
and offensive guards? Line? And offensive guard, because that's the 3 lines.
Like, which one are we talking about?
I think he's talking about all of them, all our position.
All of them about the training camp. Yes.
Go ahead, Auntie.
No, okay. Well, I mean, the number 2 wide receiver, I think that's going to be Keelan Cole. I think Kenyon Drake's going to get cut. I really do. I don't think he's going to make the roster, to be honest with you guys. And then, I think the offensive guard, I think Parham's going to take one of the spots, and I think Good's going to take the other one. But there's one training camp battle that I'm really interested in that nobody's talking about. I want to see who's going to kick and punt return of this team, brother. Because I do not want to see Renfro back there at all this year, brother. He's too valuable for this team, brother. That's the position I'm worried about. Who's going to kick and punt return for this team, brother? Like, you know what I mean? That's the question I have.
Mm-hmm.
I get a name for you, but I'll wait till my turn.
Okay. Okay, so and that's Daniel about any thoughts about the Raiders training camp right here, and who's gonna make the choice right here for the wide receiver, linebacker, and of course the offensive guard, and who's gonna make the spot?
Okay, well, first of all, our offense is going to be explosive. As far as wide receiver, our wide receiver 2 is going to be our actual wide receiver 4 because you've got Devontae Adams, you've got Darren Waller, and you got Hunter Renfro. This guy, whoever wide receiver 2 is a friggin' decoy. Okay. You throw a speed guy out there, we got a better shot at opening up everything because of the fact if he's got good hands. Who are you going to double cover? Devontae? You're going to, oh, no, we're going to double cover Waller. Okay. You just left Devontae open. Oh, we're going to double cover Renfro. Okay. You just left Devontae and Waller open and wide receiver 4. Okay. Pick your poisons. Whoever you double cover, everyone else is going to not eat, feast. Okay. Our receiving core is going to be the scariest damn thing in the NFL. Now, let's get to the running back room. If we go running back by committee, yeah, Josh Jacobs will be healthy in the playoffs and ready to run all over everyone. Kenyon Drake will be there. Bolden will be there. There's going to be a bunch of guys in there just running over people. And our rookie that we drafted is going to run over people. You can't stop that run. You are not going to stop that running back room. Now, let's talk about our offensive line. Question mark. Big question mark. But I think our coaches are going to sort it out. I think, will Alex Leatherwood make a jump like from his rookie season? I think so. I believe so. I think he's going to do the same thing that, oh, God, the other side.
Colton
Miller made. Okay. He does that. Got a pretty formidable offensive line. Our offense is going to be explosive. I got no questions about that. Okay. When we get into defensive players, then I want to dive a little deeper. But right now, it's like we're unstoppable. We are the new dynasty. And next year, if Leatherwood takes that step this year and takes that other step next year, good God help you if you face us. You are seeing the dynasty. And we are going to wipe you out.
All right, so Avakasi, anything else about the Raiders training camp right here, and who's gonna make the spot for wide receiver number 3, also a running back and the offensive guard?
Okay, so our outside wide receiver, like we already know every other skill position. The other, a wide receiver number 1, our slot wide receiver, our tight end, they're all sewed up, bar injury. You know what I mean? I don't need to go naming names. We already know who they are. That outside wide receivers, the other side is definitely a question. Hopefully, someone who's a speedster can emerge, because I think that's what we might be lacking so far is a true outside speedster to take the top off. Because I mean, we've got the best wide receiver in the game in Devontae Adams, and we got one of the best slot receivers in Hunter Renfro. But if we can get a speedster to emerge and be that complementary piece and the final piece to that skill position puzzle, then that would be fantastic. A dark horse I'm going to throw out there is Tyron Johnson. I know he's been putting in some work, and he impressed me a little bit at the end of last season with his special teams play. I haven't seen too much of a wide receiver. I do know he's got speed to burn, and he seems to be pretty hungry for it in the training camp. So that also goes on to what Auntie Six was saying. He doesn't want Renfro as our returner, either kick returner or punt returner. I echo those sentiments. I mean, it's not that he can't do it, because he does do it, and he does do it well, but he's too valuable to have in that position and taking those big hits. So I'd rather we get somebody else to take over that role. And to me, Tyron Johnson hopefully can emerge as that guy. Otherwise, somebody else in preseason, because, yeah, as we said, it's not that he can't do the job. It's just he's too valuable to have at that role. So, yeah, that's my dark horse to possibly take that spot. I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle, but we'll see. The running back position. So we've got a running back by committee. Auntie Six, you're pretty set on Kenyon Drake being released. That's a very interesting one. I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. Yeah. Our top two spots already sewed up. I mean, there's no way they're going to, unless they trade him off Jacobs. But to be honest, I think he's got too much value to stay with us for one more season and let Zamir White ease into that starting role rather than just straight off the bat being expected to carry the load. And I'm not too confident in any of the other guys being the guy who will carry the load. The majority, yes, we are a running back by committee, but I'd rather Josh Jacobs be that number one guy just for one more season. But it's going to be interesting to see if we carry 4 running backs, possibly. I mean, I don't believe we'll let Kenyon Drake go, but maybe possibly he might be right. And if they see someone in Britton Brown or one of those other guys that we have, what's the other guy? Bolden? Is that
Amir one of them? And Bolden Brown.
Amir another pass catching guy from my understanding. So that's going to be an interesting battle. But the most important battle or position that hopefully is fixed, and I've beat this drum a few times, even on your live, Ray, and yours, OG Daniel, is that offensive line. That to me is still a huge question mark. I mean, I'm hopeful, but until I see otherwise on the field, I'm going to remain, optimistic and just I'll be in wait and see mode because, we all saw Leatherwood's struggles. Yes, he was a rookie. Yes, we're hoping that he can make the same jump that Colton Miller had. But we're going to have to wait and see. You know what I mean? As for these rookies, like Dylan Prime, Thayer Mumford, and whoever else we drafted or undrafted, I'd much prefer those guys, again, ease into the role, give them time to develop, and then have them as starters rather than thrusting them in and possibly seeing them struggle. Because forgive me if I'm wrong, like the majority of the guys that we've either drafted or slotted in on that offensive line in the last decade in their rookie season, whether it be the first round, third round, seventh round, they've all struggled. Every single one of them in their first season. But the only one that comes to mind who played pretty well considering was Gabe Jackson. So I'd rather give these guys.
That's fair enough, man. Rodney Hudson and Gabe Jackson were it, and what you said is very fair.
I'm talking about their rookie season. Like after that, a lot of these guys developed and had good careers. Like guys like Jared Valdir, guys like Stefan Wisniewski. They're 2 others that we drafted that they struggled in their first season, but they managed to develop and play pretty well. But that's my take. I would rather we let those guys ease into the role rather than thrust them in, and hopefully Simpson, Good, and Leatherwood can all make steps and be able to give those other guys time to develop.
Well, that's more than fair.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So before Raider Reyes get us pressed about the Raiders training camp, right now I had to say welcome to Walt because I have him on backstage right here, directly from Fresno, California. Here it is, folks. Jody Lowe. Hey.
Oh, man, what's going on, bro?
How's it going?
Rafi, how you doing, brother? How you doing, man?
So let's hear from Raider Ray and Dirty Low about this.
Yeah, what's going on, brother? Avocasi. Hey, man, I'm liking Avocasi. I'm liking your background now, bro. Looks good. Seeing you coming up.
Yeah, thanks, man. I had a bit of a move. I had to move out of my old place because of circumstances, but I'm back to my old stomping ground, and
that's nice,
here's a little more to move around. So got my little station up and running.
For sure. Hey, Ray, first time meeting you, brother. I'm actually subscribed to you. A couple of people. Sean Johnson sent me a little something towards about you, so I've been subscribed to you since. But yeah, my name is Dirty Low. I'm a Raider content creator too, brother. So I don't know if you see me around, but yeah, brother. Hi. Hey, you gotta be polite to all, dude. Gotta be polite.
Sorry. I was
you are.
No, Ray's my brother, man. Like that dude has some serious content.
Yeah, I've been watching a few of his things, brother. You do, man. I appreciate your outlook on it, and you know what I mean. And hopefully we get on a couple of conversations, in the future.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
so my opinion on the training camp, man, when it comes to the offensive side of the football, I don't want to echo what everybody else is saying. So I'm going to give kind of a unique take. Auntie, I told you that on my last live, I do believe Tyron Johnson is going to be that punt returner. You can look at a guy like Justin Hall, wide receiver out of Ball State. He offers you a little bit more to the game if he can squeak onto the roster. A guy like Darius Phillips is a defensive back from the Cincinnati Bengals, special teams ace. That's another guy to keep an eye out. I do think, though, that Tyron Johnson is going to be your punt returner and kick returner, which leads me to the wide receiver room. And my bold take, and you guys might not agree with me, is my surprise cut candidate is Mac Hollins. And I say that because Mac Hollins, for me personally, he doesn't separate himself from guys in the group. When we're talking about this position of need, you got guys that are a big body route runner, wide receiver, and a Keelan Cole, a guy who separates really well at the top of his routes, has really solid hands. You got a guy like Demarcus Robinson who's played in a similar role with the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, he knows his position, he knows his value. And then you get to a guy like Tyron Johnson, who just has something that you can't teach, and it's 4.3 speed. You look at his time with the LA Chargers. This is a guy who posted 400 yards and 4 touchdowns when he was behind Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. He had another guy that was in a similar role, and he offers you something in the special teams department that I think gives him an edge to make the roster. Now, why I think Mac Hollins doesn't necessarily make the roster, it gives me a kind of vibe of almost like the Willie Snead signing. This is a big body guy who's a good football player. Mac Hollins is a good football player, but he doesn't separate you with his skill set. He's not elite. He's not great in many things. And if you're talking about a red zone threat, how many more red zone threats do you need than Devontae Adams, a guy like Foster Moreau, who's going to have a huge advantage this season with the amount of weapons that the Raiders offense has now? Guys like Darren Waller, you have the slot weapon in Hunter Renfrow. Are we going to allocate a roster spot to maybe 2 touchdowns a season in Mac Hollins? For me, I just think Tyron Johnson or a guy like Justin Hall out of Ball State, a guy who did a lot of gadget plays, a lot of end arounds, a lot of screens, a lot of slants, and had speed to take it to the house. I think those guys just add a different element than what Mac Hollins can bring to the table. So transitioning over to the running back room. In 2021, the New England Patriots, Josh McDaniels' offense carried 6 running backs. They carried 5 runners and 1 fullback. I don't necessarily think that's what the Las Vegas Raiders are going to do this season with the amount of wide receiver weapons that they have. But I do expect them to keep 4 runners and 1 fullback. And I do expect it to be Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake. I think they just offer too much when it comes to the offense. And when you look at how they drafted and the guys that they brought in, you've got a Josh Jacobs and a Zamir White, 2 guys that can pound it between guards, power runners in their definition. And then you get a guy like Kenyon Drake and a Brandon Bolden, and those guys complement each other as well. So they almost feel like a little bit of insurance policies for each other. You got Josh Jacobs and Zeus being the insurance policy for the power back that Josh Jacobs is. You've got Kenyon Drake and you've got a Brandon Bolden. Both guys are really good threats out of the backfield. Kenyon Drake has 1,500 career receiving yards, 8 touchdowns. He's just a guy that I think Josh McDaniels can utilize a lot better than what John Gruden did, which is why I'm not willing to move on from Kenyon Drake quite yet. As far as the offensive line goes, there are a lot of question marks. If you were to ask me the 2 guard positions, if I'm Josh McDaniels and I'm Dave Ziegler and I've built this roster and I've brought in some young guys to play the guard position, I have a question mark in John Simpson. Me personally, I'm going to go with veteran players. So starting from the left side, I've got the established Colton Miller. At left and right guard, look, I think a lot of people forget that Jermaine Illuminor was a guy who's played guard and tackle for Josh McDaniels with the New England Patriots. This is a guy who's familiar with the power gap scheme. You could put a Jermaine Illuminor in at guard and Denzel Good on the opposite side. You can put him in however you want. I personally want Denzel Good at the right guard position next to Alex Leatherwood. I think that's an extremely good, versatile veteran to have next to Alex to help him develop his game and get him in the best position to succeed. But if I'm going into week one, you guys, I want an established line that's played a decent amount of football. Jermaine Illuminor came in last season for us and really stepped up in a big way. Denzel Good really found a home for the silver and black. Probably you can arguably say he's playing his best football with the Las Vegas Raiders. When you look at this entire offseason could be summed up in one word, and that's versatility. And that describes Denzel Good's game to a T. This is a guy who's played all the guard positions. He's played both tackle spots. Heck, even in the pinch, I think he could swing into center if you really asked him. I mean, he's that versatile of a football player. I think he's too good not to start. When it comes to Dylan Parham and Mathair Mumford, look, I'm not a big fan of throwing these kids in there, and I want them to develop. I want these guys – you have the opportunity to do it the right way. In times past, we've seen that we've had to throw rookies in under fire. Okay, last season at the right tackle position, the Raiders had to throw Alex Leatherwood in. I mean, that's what they were down to. Let's just face it. We're at a position now, though, where you don't have to necessarily rely on all these young guys to come in and start right away, which is a good sign of a good organization that's developing a good team. From here on out, with the signings that they've had in free agency, these 3-year contract deals, look for these next 3 years, maybe not to get a lot of free agent acquisitions, but to really draft well, to really take these next 2 to 3 drafts and really fill out your roster, get these guys up to date. That way, when these aging veterans come in here and their contracts are up in the next 3 years, if you didn't make it to the Super Bowl, if you didn't go as far as what you wanted, you can tear this thing down and have a solid core foundation of young football players that have been in the scheme for multiple years, ready to go and ready to contribute. So on the offensive side of the football, you guys, I'm really excited for training camp.
All right, so very low. Do we have any thoughts about the Raiders training camp right here, and who's gonna take the spot of wide receivers, also running backs, and the offensive guard? So
be right back.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to just agree with Ray because you articulated that so good, bro. There's anything I can say. Thank you, appreciate you, bro.
You're good, brother.
No, I was waiting.
Just something that he said right.
I actually do have a little bit of insight. I haven't really been looking at pretty much everything. Kind of been hit and miss, been pretty busy. But overall, like some of the points that you were saying as far as Leatherwood, I'll just kind of piggyback off what you were saying. As far as Leatherwood being good with Luminor or Denzel Good right there, I do agree with you with that. The only little switch with that, I would rather have a Luminor start on right and then kind of transition and bring Leatherwood to the right tackle because Luminor knows this offense and knows what Josh McDaniels wants. So that'll probably be a better coach for him to move forward. Now, Denzel Good can give us maybe a couple good plays, but he's pretty injury prone. He does come in and like, what was it like last year before? He played really, really well for us, but he's been kind of banged up back and forth. So now you got to really start thinking about Bars. Alex Bars isn't really like kind of the biggest guy, whatever, not really known, but yet he's a journeyman. He knows how to coach up younger players and do stuff like that because Chicago's line was pretty good, but he was kind of one of the guys that was on the field, but not like, you know what I mean? He was like a secondary player, but he helped these guys transition and do all this stuff. You know what I mean? He's a little bit slower than most of these guys. So, you know what I mean? So basically what's going on with that, I think Luminor with those couple older guys are going to coach Leatherwood up. And then with Mumford coming in too, was it Mumford, right? Or is that, he's a different,
it intrigues me because like a guy like John Simpson, if this guy can actually develop, when you go and watch his film in Clemson, this guy ran that power gap scheme. He's probably arguably the strongest offensive lineman that we have. So if Coach Priscillo can get his hands on John Simpson and get his technique when it comes to hands and footwork, John Simpson does have a lot of potential in the power gap scheme. Extremely smart, strong football player. So yeah, I like your take on the Denzel Good.
Yeah, see that's another guy I didn't even think of neither. You know what I mean? Because we picked him up like second round type deal a couple years back, 4 years ago, something like that, roughly. I'm thinking maybe third. But I could be wrong, man. Most likely, I am wrong.
I
but
the name right as well.
yeah.
Cotton. He's a guy.
Right, but okay. So now let's get back to the like. That's kind of like the little just touching on that. You know what I mean? Because I know everybody wants to get in. You know their opinions or whatever. Not so like as far as running backs concerned, I don't think Drake is going to clear. I don't think he's going to clear freaking. Yeah, I don't think. I think that we're going to let him go. I think Josh Jacobs is going to be more of a White type of role in this offense. White is the predominant back when they used to have him there and all the other players, and they brought people in like LeGarrette Blount and all these different guys until White left with Brady, whatever, whatnot. But I think it'll be better and it'll be more of a health thing for Jacobs to play that role, to have these other guys coming in. I'd rather get somebody that's probably a free agent than to have Drake that has a similar, attributes that he does have. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for me, that would be a better move because we'll save a little bit of money as far as what Drake's concerned. You know what I mean? You can move on, whatever or not. That injury is on the same leg, same injury, second time around, bro. That's hard to come back from. You said Holland might be cut. Somebody mentioned that. Holland is he's a good red zone threat. And you mentioned that not have man, how many red zone threats can we have? Shit, I want them all, bro. I want my center to be a red zone threat. You feel me? You know what I mean? But like, I mean, I'm overdoing it. But see, the thing is, though, with that, if we keep him in and keep him, on these certain plays and throw different package, him, Waller, and Adams on one side, bro. What the hell are you gonna do? That's like just throw the ball up.
Well, I'm thinking that with Keelan Cole, because Keelan Cole ain't he ain't small at all.
Oh, Cole too, man. But that's the thing. So these players, this whole offense is gonna be fucking insane, bro. Especially if we keep like Hollins. I think Hollins is a slower, but he can convert to a tight end because he's the same size as Waller, has the same kind of attributes, just a little bit slower. He can maybe coach him up. That could possibly be a future thing. So I think they keep him and Moreau as far as the tight ends. I think they're going to convert him into tight ends because wouldn't that be smart? I would think that would be smart. He's a little bit thinner, throw a little bit of weight on him, have him play the same kind of role when Darren Waller can't do it or whatever or not, or you drop however they do it. I think that's where he'll fit, personally. Cutting him, I can see it too, because we have Darren Waller and Moreau. But see, not a lot of people don't think like that. I'll try to think outside of the box to put this shit back. Like even I want Leatherwood to go back to the left side with Miller and let Coach Brasillo figure out the right side with the guys that we got, because at least he'll have Miller Pro Bowl with him, and that's what he played in college. But that's my mindset. But I'm not a coach. It's just a thought. So, but overall, like, I mean, as far as everybody else, from what I'm hearing, everyone's lining up, everyone's flying to the ball, they're enjoying it, 100% participation. That's a solid thing going into this, you know what I mean, going into the season. So I feel like we're going into the season strong.
That's a good answer right here. So right now, the next topic is going to be more interesting about it, because when we thinking about the Raiders, we're talking about players, historical one like Al Davis. There's John Maiden. Also, there's Jim Plunkett, Phil Biliano. Also, there is Jim Flores, Ken Stabler, and of course, the brand new generation between Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, also Derek Carr, Devontae Adams. You can name all of them. But there's one question that makes everybody else, because right now we need to talk about, Jamarcus Russell. Because I saw this interview right here, because I don't know, man, because right now because in my opinion right here, because this is just like a draft bust, because no one knows, because right now the Raiders at the 2007 draft right here is going to be like a waste of time, because in fact it was a draft bust for Jamarcus Russell. And when I would see like the interview right here, it's just like, he's talking about pure excuses right here. In my opinion right here, for me, Jamarcus Russell it is really a draft bust because right now it's more like a waste of time. So, do you have any other thoughts about this name right here, Jamarcus Russell? Because for me, it's just like two things: draft bust and waste of time. So, first we got on T Soldier, we got next we got Ojo Daniel, next we got Dirty Low, next we got Africa Raider, and last but not least, right away about what's going on with the interview of Jamarcus Russell. Is really a draft bust and a waste of time for the Raiders?
It was a complete bust and a waste of time for the Raiders because we gave him all that money. He didn't produce on the field. I understand that he was going through some stuff, but still, you know what I mean? Where's his accountability for not practicing, for not putting effort and shit? You know what I mean? That's the thing that I had a problem with. But at the end of the day, it's in the past, and I'm just over talking about it. So it is what it is.
All right, so OJ Daniel, you next.
Yeah. Last night, okay, I did an interview with Captain Jack Rackham,
Oh,
and we interviewed a scout from the Raiders who joined the
Okay.
team in 1978 and was with us for 33 years. Okay. He wrote a book, co-wrote a book called Al Davis Behind the Shield, which is probably one of the most informative books about the Raiders you can ever read. And we talked about
I'm sorry, Dirty. I didn't hear what you. What's the book called?
Al Davis Behind the Shield.
Behind the
Behind the
Ship.
Raiders Shield.
oh,
Well,
It,
I
it's
have
one of
that.
the most informative books about the Raiders and about Al Davis that was ever written. Okay. And we interviewed John Kingdon, who was a Raiders scout from 1978 and was with the team for 33 years, a third of a century.
God damn.
Okay.
mm,
He talked about Jamarcus Russell in the interview we did last night. And if you
Really?
want to see it, go watch it on my channel, which is Chronicles of the Black Hole, or Captain Jack's channel, Captain Jack Records. Jamarcus at LSU, the coach told our team, you have to hire someone to wake him up in the morning, make sure he gets to practice in time, make sure he gets on the bus, a babysitter.
Oh my God! And we still drafted him? Oh,
This is when Al was deteriorating, but this guy gets on the pivot channel bullshit. I'm sorry, the pivot channel is not a bullshit channel. He gets on there and tears into the Raiders about not basically covering him. He had babysitters. I'm sorry. Fuck you, Jamarcus. You're a liar. You're a goddamn crybaby. Anybody who sees Jamarcus's point of view and Dirty Raiders saw his point of view, I'm sorry. I'm not going along with that shit. I'm not following along with that shit. This motherfucker was worthless to us. He
facts.
was worthless to
big
himself.
facts.
And I'm calling it. Okay? This effing guy was a joke. He needed to be a prima donna who needed to be awakened with a gentle kiss and sent to practice and needed a babysitter. No. If you're a goddamn man, get your ass up, dude, when the alarm screams and go fucking get to work. Everybody's gonna feel sympathetic towards Demarcus Russell. Okay, I got you. Fuck that clown. He was an embarrassment to himself, to our organization, and to everyone else. He had to be. The guy who they hired to babysit him, they were getting on a flight and like, where's Jamarcus? Oh shit. He went to go get him. He didn't do the job, he got fired. Okay. This is truth from a Raiders scout who was with us for 33 fucking years. Told this story. This guy is a fucking abomination. Jamarcus Russell, if you are listening, you owe the goddamn David family $80 million. You were a pathetic joke. You had no work ethic, and you were a fucking crybaby. And there's that.
Amen.
Yes, preach. And of course, Nats Efficacy and Dirty Low and Raider Ray about Jamarcus Russell, which is known as a clown. But any thoughts about that?
Is it dirty?
Dirty Low. And I'm.
You want me to go?
Okay. Yes.
I mean, yeah, whatever you want, brother. Whatever you need, Cap. So you want me to go? Okay.
All right. So.
I'm
sorry. I just.
Whoa, woo. As I'm over here looking to the left, right, and I just had a conversation because I'm gonna have a show about this tomorrow. I'll give you a little bit of insight. All right, I'm just gonna give you a little bit of insight. I believe on both ends, shit was fucked up.
Yeah.
It was like a crackhead hooking up with a meth head.
Yep.
It was just awful. Now, the reason why I say that, regardless of whatever, Coach Cable wasn't shit at the time. He did bag him regardless of whatever. You're not supposed to do that shit. Right? Okay. These are facts. Okay? These are facts. Jamarcus Russell played 9 games in 3 years. Piece of shit. Fact. But one of the bigger things that I'm looking at is overall, there's stories like this all the time. The stories that kids that had it all, didn't have nothing, pulled through, didn't pull through, whatever, whatnot. The pressure that they turn around and put on this guy, this kid, that they knew, like you said, had to have somebody wake him up. That would be, I would have got rid of him then. I wouldn't have even done it.
Once I found that out, I was taken off the board. That's the thing.
It's right.
Most of Hall of Fame players because we drafted this guy, guys. That's what the thing is that pisses me off. I remember to this day when he got up there and he was holding the jersey, like, you know what I mean? We could have had Calvin Johnson as a Raider. You know
right.
About
See, I understand that. Right. I understand that. We could have had Adrian Peterson too. Adrian Peterson would probably been the better fucking thing. But you know what? We had no offensive line, and he would have probably been shit and got hurt like most running backs do behind a bad offensive line. Dude, I can unpack this thing so crazy, but I gotta say something for the show tomorrow, man. Me and Greg are doing
I'll see him tomorrow.
You guys jump on, man. You guys come out, Ray. Everybody off Casa, you already know something. I'm gonna put everything out there on IG. I'll invite all you guys. You guys are more than welcome to. But yet at the same time, I do see both sides overall, Raph. For the panel, I do see both sides, but yet I'm leaning. Obviously, it's always about Raiders. So no matter what, I'm always gonna back them regardless, good or bad, right or wrong. You know what I mean? So, it is. I do agree with Auntie too. It is just too much. It's like it's over. Like, who cares? I understand why they did it. I get it. You know what I mean? It had to be said. You'll see more tomorrow. You'll see more, man. I got a whole fucking thing written down right here, bro. It's crazy, but you guys I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna leave it right there.
All right, so Afakasi, Raider Raid. Any thoughts about Russell? Well,
all right. I'm gonna try and make my take short. You were talking about red flags. Have you heard the story that I think it was Kirk Morrison shared about how they had the rookie talent show? And for him, the flag was like, all these other rookies came out, had their own little talents that they shared. I mean, we've seen videos from the Hard Knocks, how they had Hunter Renfrow sing and Max Crosby sang and rap. These rookies doing all their thing. And Jamarcus Russell's talent, he came out with a bag of money and just went, psh. And Kirk Morrison was like, for me, that was the flag. While I was picking up money, I was just thinking, like, this is the guy supposed to be leading our team. Really?
And Morrison was probably picking up all that money because he's like, man,
he was.
He said all the money I can get, bro. I ain't getting no contract after this, motherfucker.
With that said, I agree with just about, with what you guys have all said. I'm also going to agree with you, Dirty, that accountability was on both sides of the fence. It wasn't just Jamarcus. Yeah, Jamarcus, he lacked that drive and mental capacity, you know what I mean? But, it was also, I guess, the Raiders organization. We weren't the most functional at the time. And, Al Davis was in the twilight of his, days on earth. RIP to him. But with all due respect, like I don't mean to speak ill of the dead. Like some of his decisions towards the end of his life, like in regards to who picking, were very, very questionable.
Yep.
And I'm not going to get too much into that. I will say though, look, there is a little part of me. I'm not going to lie, and this is with all due respect to you, OG Daniel, that is a little bit sympathetic to Jamarcus. And I find myself like, he fucked our organization, and for a while, because we had to dig ourselves out of cap jail it took us a long time to get out of it. I think 2014, 2015 is when we finally got out of that cap jail that we were put in because of that draft pick and the money we put into it. Like I said, there's a little part of me that's a little bit sympathetic for him. I agree with Terrence's comment. Yeah, it's funny how people think he's a kid, but then we also got to think about, like, how were we when we were like 21, 22, 23, 24, however old it was when he got drafted. I don't know about you guys, but I think back to when I was 23, 24, I was, you know what I mean? Like, you give me a bag of money, I wouldn't know what the fuck to do with it. You know what I mean? I'd be doing something stupid and crazy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let alone having the hopes and dreams of an organization put on my shoulders. Like, we all got like our stories and that, like Cry Me a River, but like there's that part of me that kind of understands what he was saying. And another point is like, when I watched bits and pieces of the interview, like honestly, he looked pretty good. Like, you know what I mean? Like compared to what he looked when he was playing with us, it's just unfortunate, if he'd only had that drive then that he looks like he has now, because he looks better now than he did like when he was with us 10 years ago. Longer than that now, 12 years ago. He actually looks younger and fitter now than he did then, which is, I guess a little bit of kudos to him. But, look, I agree with you guys. I just don't find myself disliking him the way I dislike guys like Arnett and Rolando McClain.
Right.
I really.
Do you mind if I answer this Terrence's question that he said? Well, actually, a statement that he put. I think it's running for that because I made a statement that that he's a kid, right? Technically, really, if you really think about it, Terrence, you and I both know this, that if me and you had money at that age coming out of college, bro, we'd be broke. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then also having everything handed to you from when you're a kid all the ways up. There's a thing that it's a theory and it's been coming up recently just in things that I've been reading, whatnot, that you have to really look into somebody being like idolized as a kid until when they get to a certain point, you know what I mean? They feel like everything is owed to them. You know what I mean? I'll get more into it, but the thing is, though, it's like technically he is not a man, because the money that I have right now, bro, if you would have gave me that shit when I was a kid, bro, we wouldn't be talking, bro. You know what I mean? It's like you have to grow, and if you have yes men around you all the time, you stay a kid, bro. Stay a kid. So it's
I fought for money at that age.
Right, exactly. See, it's sort of like, you know what I mean? I've been hustling since I was 15.
If I'd been given that money,
right,
I'd be already retired because I would have invested well. I'm sorry, man. I don't fuck that kid. That kid fucked up.
See, and that statement's kind of messed up because it's a kid. If a kid does something wrong, we can't say fuck this kid at that moment. Him being cocky about it now, that's a little bit of a shot because he's talking about I still got money and basically didn't do shit. That's fucked up. That's messed up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got one.
I don't really want to go too much into it, but yeah, OG, I see your point too. I do agree with you.
Yeah,
but
I
can't.
do too.
We can't have these kids coming in and be like, oh, they're kids. Now imagine these kids now are going to get paid.
Yeah,
so they're going to be at work. Watch. So check this out.
He's a grown-ass man not getting paid. He invested well if he did smart, but really,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
He fucked
us.
Our organization.
Right.
All right. That leads me. Look. Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rick. I'm sorry.
Coming up. The podcast is absolutely. I love what they do. I love the pivot. They do fantastic interviews. I thought it was a great show. I think it was fantastic to hear from Jamarcus Russell, regardless of the past. And look, there's two sides to every story, and then there's the truth that lies in the middle somewhere. All right. We can sit here and say that Jamarcus Russell needed a babysitter. He needed this and that. How terrible he was. The easiest thing to do in the world is to pick up an egg and throw it at Jamarcus. But why aren't we putting more responsibility on the Raiders organization, who at the time was an absolute joke? Al Davis was in the latter days of his career, and it's no shot at Al Davis. But the fact of the matter, look, I'm always going to keep it a buck, whether it's making it like the Raiders. The Raiders aren't this perfect organization that is spot free. Like if you had to hire a babysitter to get Jamarcus Russell to practice, if you had to put blank tapes in front of Jamarcus Russell, what does that say about your organization's building when they're talking about scouting this kid for months in advance? And you took a risk on a guy that had this many red flags, and when you had all these other talented players on the board. This doesn't just on Jamarcus Russell. This does fall also on the Raiders organization for making bad moves, which they've shown that they've done historically. Yep. So to say that this is all Jamarcus Russell is completely unfair. Two, this kid is coming into a situation that, however old he was when he was drafted, you hand a kid, this goes to show that there's 32 positions in the entire world, okay? There's 32 job titles in the world called a professional quarterback, and not everybody is cut out for that, okay? And you hand a kid the keys to a franchise. You throw a kid who comes from nothing, $35 million guaranteed, which at the time was the highest contract. Not a lot of people are built for that, okay? That's not to say that Jamarcus Russell shouldn't have been putting in the work and all that stuff. All that aside, and to give context, Avakazi, to the story about him throwing the $5,300. Okay, Kurt Morrison, and rest in peace, is also the guy that was taking young kids out to the strip clubs. Okay, there's also players for the rookie. They hire strippers to come in. There's guys that go out there and they spend $50,000 on a dinner for the guys. There's guys that get up in front of the teams and sing. And to hear his point of the view, he's like, look, I'm not a singer, and I'm not going to sit here and take everybody out to eat. Like, he was saying all this stuff, like, that's not me. So the $5,300 at the time, bro, that's $100 a player. So to take $5,300 in ones and to throw it up, and guys are grabbing ones, look, that kind of stuff, bro. And nowadays, okay, if you would have got on Instagram, right, and the Raiders would have put out some rookie that we just drafted in the first round, and he was throwing $5,300 in ones, okay, would we just be laughing and making memes about it and just joking around talking about it? Or is it because it's Jamarcus Russell that we're like, oh, bro, he's so this and that? Look, there's two sides to every story, and I think that the Raiders organization was a dumpster fire. You could have put Peyton Manning and Tom Brady on that roster, and they would have not done nothing. The offensive line was an absolute joke. Lewis Murphy, Chaz Schillens, who's the other one?
Haywood Bay.
Miller was there.
I'm talking. You guys are talking about an
offensive gallery.
An offensive cast that is garbage. You're talking about a worst defensive unit in the league, and then you're throwing this young kid in here and saying, "Hey, go fix everything."
Actually, the defense wasn't too bad.
Yeah, and
it wasn't the defense when Swag was there. It wasn't too bad, but the offense wasn't putting up shit.
The offense wasn't that bad in Jamarcus Russell's last year. I mean, we had Darren McFadden We had Zach Miller. Our offensive line, in
But at
his
that
first
point,
years
was
was
the damage already
wasn't too
done?
bad.
Right. Yeah, I was already
At
the
that
damage
point,
was already done.
was already done. There's already so much stuff behind the scenes. Like what they should have done. I know that he was the first overall pick, and you're immediately typically thrust into the position to start. His case was unique in that the kid wasn't ready. And the kid wasn't ready more off the field and on the field. This was the kid that probably should have got developed and openly came out and said that. Like, look, you had veterans on the roster. They probably honestly should have got the shot because he wasn't ready. He went to Al Davis and addressed to Al Davis, look, I don't know if I'm ready. And Al in his later years told the kid to toughen up. Now the kid doesn't have a voice. Okay. He's going to put his helmet on and he's going to do it. But I see both sides. So I'm with Avakazi that, like, look, I have a little bit of grace and sympathy for this guy. Does that mean that he's not a bust? Of course he's the bust. I mean, the fruit of everything on the field shows that. But there's just so much more. This isn't just a typical story of a draft bust, of a guy that you drafted and he sucked. This has a lot of layers to peel back on both the organization standpoint and on the Jamarcus Russell standpoint. It was a dumpster fire to begin with. So I thought it was a fantastic interview. I thought the pivot does a phenomenal job. I wish Jamarcus nothing but the best. I hope he's healthy. I hope he's in the greatest place mentally in his mind, and I'm hoping that he's kind of finding a place in his life. He's coaching right now. He's coaching Pop Warner, and dude, all that's good. I think us as Raider fans sometimes, and I might take heat for it, but bro, we gotta chill, bro. Like sometimes we take this stuff like I believe silver and black. I say that, and I love the Raiders organization. But sometimes, bro, we're so toxic. It's like if you failed playing football, screw you. You have to fail at everything in life. And bro, that's just not how I see it. It didn't work out. Move on, bro. Like we're in such a different position right now. I wish nothing but Jamarcus Russell all the success in the world, and I hope that he prospers. That's my take on it.
Yeah. Just to touch up on that just a little bit. You were talking about mental health. Like, I'm sure back then there wasn't the mental health awareness that there is now. I mean, I remember around, like, just to give my own personal story, and I won't get too deep into it. I went through one of my toughest stages of my adult life around the same time that Jamarcus Russell was drafted, and I didn't know how to deal with it. I know what it was now, but at the time, like, it was really bad depression. I had really bad anxiety, but I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what it was. I didn't even know what it was that I was dealing with at the time, because there was no awareness to it. There's nobody talking about it the way that people do now. You know what I mean? Like, mental health is everything, and that's great, fantastic. That's where we're at now. Back then, I can kind of sympathize because there was no awareness about it then. There wasn't. I didn't feel like there was people to talk to, and I can kind of sympathize with Jamarcus on that side of the coin. And just to quickly address All Eyes on G's comment about you can't give the old man too much shit. No, you're right. I mean, to a point. I mean, look, we can knock Jamarcus Russell for what he had upstairs, because I mean, it became apparent that he just wasn't mentally ready, whatever way you want to cut it. But at the same time, he had those physical intangibles you cannot teach. So, you know what I mean? Like, those are the things that I'm looking at, and that's what, I can't knock Al Davis looking at that and being like, yeah, I want that guy, but on the same side of the fence, like, it was upstairs which he couldn't get it together, not the talent perspective. Go ahead.
Right. And I love this comment here that Al and Russell's support system failed them. And you can make the argument that if Jamarcus Russell was drafted in this era with social media where players actually have a voice now, you got to remember at that time, it was almost like getting close to that breaking point, right? You fast forward a few years, then social media is integrated in it. A lot of players have a lot more voices. The power kind of shifted more towards the players. And Jamarcus was a big part of that. Let's face it. That contract was groundbreaking at the time. So you can say what you want.
And it changed it. It changed the rules of
him and Bradford.
You can make the argument that in this era, with such a focus on mental health, he could have probably got a second opportunity in an organization to put him on the back burner and really develop him. Make sure that his life is good. Make sure things off the field are getting taken care of. And then ease him into the work. As to back then, bro, it's just a different animal. Even though it wasn't that long ago, there wasn't an emphasis on mental health. There wasn't an emphasis on, are these guys okay off the field? It was get on the field, produce for me, or you're gone. That was it.
Suck it up, tough it up.
Yeah, that was
Right.
it. I mean, if people are dealing with stuff, that's why. Look, dude, mental health is such a real thing. It is such a real thing, and I've trained. Look, I've been boxing and doing mixed martial arts since I was 12 years old. Okay, if your mental game is off, if I'm going into the ring and my mind is not 100%, like if stuff is going on, say my relationship is whack, say my job situation is rough, I'm struggling. Look, you're not there, bro. I don't care all the talent you got in the world. You're just not there. And that was the case with Jamarcus Russell, and everything that was going on in his brain started bleeding onto the field. And it was just a lack of the Raiders. I'm going to put more responsibility on the Raiders organization because Jamarcus Russell is one man, and you had an entire organization for however long they're scouting one man. And you came up, all that entire building made a decision that Jamarcus Russell, we're going to take a chance on you. And I feel like everybody in the Raiders organization has thrown the dumpster on Jamarcus Russell, and they should have looked in the mirror and realized they were completely out of whack. They were completely dysfunctional, and it was a mess. So, look, accountability goes both ways.
Yep.
Exactly. So right now, before we wrap this out, because this is the premiere episode of Silver and Black Experience, because that show is for the only Raider Nation right here. Okay, we're talking about the news, also the rumors, also what happened last night with the games, and of course historical facts, some depth chart analysis right here. Because I'm gonna tell it to everybody else who's watching this, I am proud to be a Raider Nation member right here. Because right now, no matter what happens, for the bad things or the good things, I am right now part of the Raider Nation right here. Because it's just like a family. And the family never give up. Because I will never give up to support my team, which is the Raiders. Because sometimes I learn about mistakes. But right now, that team, which is the Raiders, and that jersey that I'm wearing off, which is the Max Crosby 98, it feels incredible because right now I feel like part of the family right here. Because at first, when I wasn't doing live streams and doing the collaboration with some Raiders content creators, first I was getting nervous, including the live stream from Graphic Writer, which is getting nervous right here because I had no idea about it. And I'm starting searching about the history about what's going on with the Raiders, also the 70s, the 80s, the 90s to 2000, and of course to 2010. After I said it all, because right now there's so much things that I learned about the Raiders history right here. Al Davis and Joe Maiden will be remembered. And of course, we can never forget the catchphrase of Al Davis, just win, baby. Also, Jamarcus Russell was a waste of money, was a waste of time, and of course, he's a fucking clown. And that's why I say it. And of course, what I learned about the Raiders' history right here, we just have 4 Super Bowls because in this state right here in California, right now the Raiders, we run California because how many Super Bowls had Chargers? 0. Just 0 right here. Because us as a Raiders, we just had 4 Super Bowls. And right now we cannot stop in the run. And the other thing about what's going on for the Raiders right here, because we had a great defense. We have some players like Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, Derek Carr, Hunter Renfro, of course, Devontae Adams. We're going to shock to everybody else in this league right here. And of course, there's another thing that I was learning about because the media hates us because there's nothing because right now they still find a lot about Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson right here. But we as a Raiders nation right here, we just say anything else. Don't fuck with the Raiders because right now we're going to dominate it. And right now this year is going to be rebuilt to everybody else. So right now, as an Asperger syndrome person, as a Venezuela person right here, I am very proud to be part of the Raider Nation right here. And I just wanted to tell you, Raider Nation for life, motherfuckers. And no one.
yeah.
Rafael out here sending shots.
Yeah,
hit him with the left, hit him with the right.
Boom.
Yep.
Yeah. I was just about to ask you what jersey is that you're wearing, but you just answered it. It's also about 3 Super Bowls, but I think
yes.
you mean
You
like
just meant that we're gonna win one this year. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, all right, I got you. You calling it? I got you.
Yes, I got you. And of course, it's gonna be like a wild ride right here because right now this is just the beginning because this is the premiere episode. Right now, it seems like more because right now this season right here for the NFL, we're gonna do a lot of silverback experience about the radio news, the rumors, what happened to the games right here, also historical facts and depth chart because right now I'm just watching all these radio content creators right here, and I just love it to support about what's going on with news, everything. Persons like Afkasi, OG Daniel, Captain Jack, Dirty Low, Raider Joe. Also, they got Andy, graphic writer, Stu, Wasted. These are my greatest content creators that I supported, and I love to watch to see what's going on with the Raiders right here because us as a Raider Nation, we are family. We are family, and no matter what happens, or the good things or the bad things, we always support as a family. And of course, we're gonna wrap this out with this premiere episode of Civil and Black Experience. And of course, with that comment right here with James Freepo, we're gonna say 1, 2, 3. Raiders. That's it.
All right, brother.
I'm gonna tell you, Raider Nation for life, and this has been a premiere episode of Civil and Black Experience. There's gonna be a lot of more, so stay tuned, folks. El Capitán Rafael, as always, supporting you, and of course, it's gonna be a great show right here. And one more thing, just win, baby. The Raider Nation for life, motherfuckers. So salute to y'all.
Salute, bro. All right, everybody, have a good night.
Have a good night.
Take care.
All right, brother. Peace.
All right. All right. Let's see what I got here. All right. Let's end it up.